So we're gonna watch this. This is HOD's response.
Let's talk
From the
about the
previous
ARK Survival Evolved
previous
publisher
video.
Snail Games, whose founder allegedly threatened to forge evidence against Studio Wildcard's co-founder Jeremy Steiglitz, framing him for involvement in real money transactions, and Snail Games even paid to DDoS a server.
What's this?
Snail Games USA acquired Studio
Nothing?
Wildcard, developer of ARK, in December 2015. This acquisition may not have been a very mutual one, and from the evidence we have gathered, it appears that Snail Games holds Wildcard to ransom for many of these corrupt acts that you're about to see. As it's come to light that there are voice recordings scattered across 15 individual DM videos between what is allegedly the founder of Snail Games, Shihai, and the COO of Snail Games, Peter Kang. These voice recordings expose high levels of corruption within Snail Games. When comparing the voice recordings to interviews of these two men, the similarities are almost uncanny. However, we cannot know for sure. But what we do know is...
So what do these say? You arranged to forge a fake screenshot of Jeremy chatting to others, indicating that he's the boss behind the A-Team, so the cheats will not be banned, making them the biggest RMT seller of ARK. They attack other tribes and then sell items and dinos to make money. Use Jeremy's profile picture. You translate it. Well, send it to Jeremy and tell him we have all the evidence to prove why he doesn't take actions on cheats. I don't understand now at this point, where so many years down the line we're talking about cheats like it's basically a dead game.
Is that Snail Games appears to have been playing on ARK servers,
Not a dead game,
and cheating
but
and using favoritism to take advantage of the community and exploit unfairly
surely got
to gain
the
advantage.
bats
It appears the Snail Games uses their hold over
would have
Wildcard
worked
to
so
exploit
much better
and gain admin
at the
privilege
beginning.
to exploit the servers, and
Okay.
ban other tribes unfairly as Snail Games employees play under the...
So much reading. I always loved playing classic servers. In fact, these were the only servers I played in ARK for my 4K hours in the game. However, cheating in this game is no surprise, but this TEA tribe is something different. I've heard rumours that they dev wiped many big bases that couldn't raid. They even attacked us once, but somehow didn't get dev wiped or something. They didn't even cheat back then. Alright, so they've not always cheated, but this season is just something ridiculous. Some of our guys went on their server to PvP, and boom, all tribes 30 plus players got globally. Oh, so they've got global bans in there as well. Oh, so they're actually like TOSing them, like server side. That's disgusting. If that's the case, like boycott ARK 2. If it's going to be run by the same people of ARK 1, because that's ridiculous.
The tribe name T. If our evidence is correct, Shihai and Peter Kang were actually playing on the servers and requesting these cheats and exploits against the community. The chat logs and their dates are backed up with historical evidence and documentation from the ARK PvP community on official servers. When community members were fighting against the tribe T, who is a Chinese mega tribe, T may have had to move over to the Snail-owned Conquest servers and Classic servers in order to avoid the heat they were getting from being heavily present on regular official servers, because the cheating and rampant discussion around this topic, while it was mostly hidden, got them in some trouble even back in 2018. And now history...
There is one thing that I'll say about Chinese bots, or servers, or players, is that they always seem to be dominant. Like, no matter whether they do PvP, PvE, like, they'll be there farming the element, they'll be doing all of that stuff. So, to go join a different server, like, they instantly become number one. And don't forget, they're playing on like 300 ping, maybe even 400 ping, and they're stomping you. Like, it's wild.
is repeating itself on the current Classic servers that Snail Games just released. These servers have no affiliation with Wildcard, and they make it very obvious that it's separate, and I think the reason will become very apparent, and this is making this a relevant issue even still,
Because the
where players
people
are
that
being
play on it
unfairly
are
banned,
rats.
and the suspect is Snail Games once again. Buckle up, because this video will be showing everything we've found. First, we'll look at where this all may have started, with a $14 million lawsuit against Studio Wildcard co-founder Jeremy Steiglitz, and then we'll look at how Snail Games bought out Wildcard, and the history, according to the media, of Snail's founder, Shihai, and how the official servers were affected by T, and the ones allegedly pulling the strings, Snail Games. Studio Wildcard has had a very public battle against cheaters in their game ARK Survival Evolved for many years, and maybe the issue is not Wildcard themselves, but their publisher Snail Games.
Oh no. Like, ARK is incredibly easy to cheat on. Like, the fundamentals of being... I think the game itself is like you have a mega tribe, and then you have absolutely everybody else underneath. So easily to expose. Like, look at something as simple as the map. So when people were clipping out of the map, that made them instant the number one player. That's just the style of game it is. But like, if the developer is actively selling cheats for the game, they need to relinquish this developer. They need to stop working with them. 100%. Like, there's no question. Like, ARK 2 will not be a good online game if they don't do that. And if they do stick with the Snail Games, I'll be playing PvE. 100%. And I'll still be getting salty about it.
Who they themselves cheat and exploit in their own game. So, how did Wildcard come to be under the control of Snail Games?
Money.
Well, Jeremy Steiglitz, the co-founder of ARK, used to work for a company called Trendy Entertainment, which he actually founded. Eventually, he left the company around 2014 and began to work on ARK. But he was promptly sued by Trendy when they found out about ARK and claimed he broke a non-compete agreement. The lawsuit was for $40 million and Trendy won, and also around this time a company called Snail Games acquired Wildcard. As of now, Snail is the publisher for ARK, and has been since December 2015. And here's where things get interesting though. Snail was founded by a man named Shihai. If you look him up on Google, you don't find too much beyond a couple interviews he's done promoting products and games Snail owns. Though there is an article written by Matthew Handrahan for Games Industry with the headline, "Former Snail Games USA exec alleges racism and unfair dismissal." In the article it says, that David Runyon, who joined Snail Games USA as its Director of Game Operations in July 2012, has filed a lawsuit with Los Angeles County Superior Court accusing his former employer of numerous breaches of the Fair Housing and Employment Act. The focus of the suit is Mr. Shihai, the Chinese founder and CEO of both Snail Games USA and...
So there's one thing we've got to remember, is that like China and the UK, the European Union, the US, one runs under communism, and a state where your employment, everything, your hobbies, they're all tracked. So everything that you do works up to your social status. Like, they're all it's point based. Whereas like in the UK, European Union, US, it's all very much like, this is your hobby, this isn't really anything to do with us, you know, go ahead and do it. They almost take it's almost political. They take a USSR stance as such, like, I am the dictator and I will be telling you what to do with this game, which, you know, if it comes from a European backed game, not much good is going to come from that confrontation, as proven through numerous wars and current times, Ukraine, Russia, look at it.
And its Chinese counterpart, Snail Games. The article goes on to say that in December of the same year, Shihai terminated nearly all of Snail Games USA marketing staff in a bid to move operations back to China. However, with a full marketing plan recently completed and the Age of Wushu's launch scheduled for March 2013, Shihai's actions threw the entire company into chaos. Runyon was again asked to shoulder extra responsibilities. Runyon also claims that he received two very hostile emails from Shihai. First, accusing him of fabricating his physical problems, and the second informing him that he would be required to leave Snail Games USA. He was officially sacked on August 12, 2013, just over a year after he first started at the company. So, if these claims are true, albeit this comes from an older article from 2014, it gives more context and credibility to Shihai's corruption and exploitation and manipulation. But the real smoking gun is the evidence from Wilfred Advincula. Their YouTube channel has a whole 15 videos outlining what they claim are DMs between Snail Games founder Shihai and the CEO Peter Kang. There are other people involved in the DMs which whoever uploaded these seems to have blurred out for their own privacy. These DMs contain, however, both text messages and voice recordings which help paint a picture of what could have been happening. Most of the DMs talk about ARK official server related things, as the alleged Shihai mentions wiping, crashing, and shutting down servers to prevent players from attacking his base. And these logs are historically backed up by the YouTube videos uploaded during these attacks. Even I had one back from this time. According to the DMs, In video 15, one message says, "We are getting feedback from the community."
I mean, it's so wild to think that people are crashing servers just to maintain their own base, but I fully believe him. That's the problem, is that I fully believe that this geezer has done this on purpose. Like, it just shows ARK. This is whoever got fucked during this, wipe it away. It's an ARK moment. That shows the game how it is today. Just everything is, yeah, that happened. It's an ARK moment.
That they think T has uncommon relationship with Wildcard. This message suggests why Snail may have moved off the main officials and created the Conquest and Classic servers, which Wildcard still to this day promotes, although they distance themselves quite heavily now. Where things get particularly disturbing though is how among these messages the alleged Shihai says things like, "You arrange a forge," a fake screenshot of Jeremy chatting to others, indicating that he is a boss behind A-Team, so their cheats will not be banned, making them the biggest RMT seller of ARK. They attack other tribes and then sell items and dinos to make money. This is followed by
selling items and dinos in ARK. It's a dead game. It's not a dead game. Like, the game's alive, but like the entire purpose of the game is to like get these like high level dinos and stuff. And like at the end of the day, you're like grinding the same bosses. Or you're like being an alpha tribe of like one server. Like, who gives a shit, man? Like, the dominance isn't that imperative. Like, it's actually crazy to me is that like ARK even allows or like lets this go on. Like, balanced gigas, like there's no point to ARK at the minute. Like, ARK is a dead game. You can have 100 gigas in a base easily, and if it's not the 100 gigas that kill you, it'll be the 15 FPS that you get during the game. So is this why the game went into turmoil? Because they've got so much CCP influence? We'll see,
need
I
to have someone
suppose.
spread the screenshot to Reddit once it's finished, creating media hype and community pressure on him, forcing him to wipe out A-Team. So, to give context to these messages, this alleges is that Shihai was forcing Jeremy Steiglitz's hand through blackmail and faking evidence, threatening to expose Jeremy Steiglitz.
What's this say? ARK Survival Balls, stream servers, February 5th, 2018. East Coast, Marsh Base was under attack by blah blah blah. Time. Here's a high large number of GM spawned in-game items. Oh, so he's literally giga chatting people. Oh, so like the community banned him, and then they threatened him to rebuild his base. It's a fucking online game. It's a game that doesn't even get anything. There's no income to ARK. Yes, you can sell tames, stuff like that, but like there's no interest in ARK anymore. It's not until ARK 2 is released is like anyone gives a shit. Like, what are you doing, bro?
To force him to do his bidding. This would mean that Shihai outright asked for fake DMs to be orchestrated to defame Jeremy Steiglitz. Additionally, the DMs mention 1 million yuan of data traffic to prepare lots of cheap data traffic to DDoS for 1 month. So how much is 1 million yuan? According to Google, roughly 140,000 USD. And if that wasn't enough, it's also alleged Shihai also said, "All of you will be fired." This could either refer to his tribemate, employees, or both. So, how do we know these DMs are real or accurate? I mean, they could have been fake or not painted the full picture, but to check that over, we got a bilingual Discord user who we asked to translate and ensure the accuracy of the voice recordings and chat logs compared to the English translations in the video. They put in their 2 cents after looking over the notes, and we are keeping them anonymous for their safety, but they said a few sentences are quite incomprehensible.
Put that into context. They translated a video and they are keeping it anonymous for their safety, nobody else's. for their safety. That's how malicious the Chinese government is. Like, this video is almost standing up on points against the regime. I'll just let that slip under there for the time being.
Reprehensible, as they don't know the game terminology, but they do sound like the same people, referring to Shihai and Peter Kang's voice when compared to publicly available interviews and media. What we do know though is that players are continuing to get banned, and T is not on the current Classic servers and Conquest servers, who are overtaken by Chinese players. And we also know that cheaters get a free pass on Apocalypse servers, starting the wipe with tech structures enabled, probably gifted by admin privileges. All of this is to say, do not play on any servers related to Snail Games or hosted by them, as they are full of corruption and exploitive against the community. So if players are still getting banned unfairly, and if what they're saying is true, then Snail Games is still very much an issue that ARK and Wildcard just can't seem to shake off, even years after the alleged leaked DMs were dated. But what can be done? Can a developer split off from their publisher?
No, so what needs... I'm honestly not going to listen to the rest of this, but what needs to happen is they need to split the Chinese divide. They can have their own server where they do their own thing and they just, they just vibe out. That's fine. But no, if corruption's coming to a game as so old and senile as ARK 1 is, like, no. Like, nobody's paying for a tame. Nobody is. I had an RG with insane stats, and that came because some Chinese guy died in front of me. And it's bullshit. They've literally made nobody wants to play the game. They've almost made it Loot Crate-esque. Like, just don't bother. Just wait till Art 2 and hope they make the game better. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. And now we're gonna watch the last of the video.
And what is Studio Wildcard or Snail Games for that matter going to do now that this video is out? An MMO called Black Desert Online went through a publisher-developer split. Maybe the same thing can happen with Studio Wildcard and Snail Games. All we know is that if you see cheating, expose it, bring it to myself, bring it to other content creators, and we will not sit idly by while the game is ruined by exploitation and cheating from the publishers of the game. And we know who to send the blame to. It is probably at this point not Wildcard, but in fact Snail Games, Shihai, who is...
Yeah, and it's quite clear they don't give a shit. How do you think they got the money for ARK 2? I hope it's alright. And like, I hope ARK 2 is a really good game, but I don't for a second think it's not going to be a piece of shit with loads of corruption. Especially if the CCP have got involved. Someone release another video. I'd love to react to it, because ARK seems in a desperate state. And I feel like if it doesn't hit margins instantly, like, it's probably going to be in an even worse state. So yeah, hit me up, let me know your opinion on ARK. I'd love to know, because I love the game and I feel like this sort of cheating bullshit has fucking ruined the game. So yeah,